Rise and shine, rise and shine. Welcome to another episode of LANCESCURV. We're going to be busting it out a whole lot, as you can see. We're going to leave those like that fly on the windshield when you drive faster and faster and faster and they can't hold on. It's crazy what's going on in the world today, though. Seriously. I mean, it's nothing that hasn't happened before. Now, you see what I titled this? Senseless Fatalities in American Tradition. Well, why would I say an American tradition? Well, this goes on in America so much, and the news will always slant it a certain way. But sometimes they can't. Sometimes they have to tell it like it is. And there's an active shooter in Maine. At the last report that I saw, they haven't caught him yet. I have to use certain words and I can't say other words, and maybe this banner might get me in trouble, but they say he deleted 16 individuals and 50 injured. And there might be more deletions. Who knows? Let me read this off and you make up your mind on this situation of white on white crime. And yes, I'm going to frame it that way. Yes, I have a bone to pick with the news. When we do something, it's black on black crime. But since they claim to be the majority of the U.S. population, when they do something against each other, it's just crime. Let's be fair now. Let me read this. Maine mass shooting. At least 16 feared deleted in U.S. city of Lewiston. On a footnote, Lewiston, Maine was the location of the Muhammad Ali Sonny Liston rematch back in 1965, where he fell from the so-called phantom punch. Just a footnote. At least 16 people have reportedly been killed in the U.S. city of Lewiston, Maine, and a search is underway for the gunman. The shootings began at 1856 local time, which is 6:56, right? And that's East Coast time. On Wednesday, yesterday, at a bowling alley and a restaurant, police said. Lewiston residents, as well as those in the nearby town of Lisbon, have been told to shelter in place. Police named Robert Card, 40 years old, as a person of interest and said he should be considered armed and dangerous. The authorities have not yet confirmed the death toll, but CBS, the BBC's U.S. partner, has said the number is at least 16 after speaking to multiple law enforcement officials. There have been also multiple but unconfirmed reports of at least 50 people injured. Michael Sawchuk, commissioner in Maine's Department of Public Safety, said there had been multiple casualties. Lewiston has a population of around 38,000 people and is the second largest city in Maine after Portland. Lewiston police said officers had responded to reports of a shooting at two locations: a restaurant called Skimenji's, maybe I'm getting it wrong, and Spare Time Recreation, a bowling alley, which appeared to be about 4 miles apart. Riley Dumont told ABC News that her 11-year-old daughter had been taking part in Children's Bowling League at the bowling alley when she heard several gunshots. She said her father, a retired police officer, had then corralled their family into a corner. I was laying on top of my daughter, she said. My mother was laying on top of me. She added that she saw 3 or 4 apparent victims. Billie Jane Cook, who was running for the city council in Lewiston, told BBC News Channel she had been leaving an event as details of the shooting emerged. Helicopters, sirens, I've never heard so much activity in my life in this city. We have police from all over the state, out of state, coming up, she said. The whole city's on lockdown. It's horrible. You just don't think that's ever going to happen, and it did. In a statement on X, formerly Twitter, Maine State Police said there is an active shooter in Lewiston. The Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office released images of a person of interest, saying he was at large and asking for the public's help identifying him. They showed a bearded man in a brown sweater carrying a firearm walking into a building. Robert Card is a firearms instructor who was trained by the U.S. military at a facility in the city of Saco, Maine, according to a state police bulletin seen by CBS. The bulletin also said he had spent time in a mental health center in the summer of 2023 and had threatened to commit shooting at the base. The authorities also shared a photo of a white vehicle saying its front bumper was believed to be painted black and asked anybody who recognized it to contact police. Mr. Shawchuck told reporters that residents in Lisbon had been asked to shelter in place because that was where the vehicle was located. The Central Maine Medical Center said it was reacting to a mass shooter event, and was coordinating with other hospitals in the area to treat the injured. Lewiston Public Schools Superintendent Jake Langlass said in a statement that schools in the district would be closed on Thursday. A statement from the Department of Homeland Security said Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas had been briefed and was continuing to monitor the situation. A U.S. Justice Department statement said that the federal agencies were assisting state and local law enforcement. The White House said Joe Biden had spoken individually by phone to Maine Governor Janet Mills, Senators Angus King and Susan Collins, and Congressman Jared Golden. Senator King said in a statement he was deeply sad for the city of Lewiston and all those worried about their family, friends, and neighbors. That's the end of the article. So this article is not going to be absolute because we're going to find out there are either more casualties, less casualties, more injured or less injured, since it really just happened recently within the last 4 hours. So why am I doing a video on this? Why am I talking about this? Well, I'm out here in West Africa, thank God. And many of the people here believe that America is this haven. America is heaven. America is full of love. Because of those Caucasians that come here to visit, they act very nice when they're here. And I told them, when they're back in America, they don't act too nice. They act on code. There's a lot of mental illness. There's a lot of drug use. There's a lot of people that are just off. There's a lot of stress. It may look pretty on social media when you see the brand new cars and new condos and mansions and the young people who can accrue these things mostly by credit. But you have to work hard for what you have. It's tension there compared to here. You don't know what you have here. And they still don't believe me. And many go over unless they deal with those in their own community from their own homeland. They're left alone. They feel cold. They feel disconnected because that's the way it feels in America. So they'll slant this in a way. Yeah, they say he spent time in a mental health facility. But if he spent time in a mental health facility, I mean, anybody can slip out and do certain things, but this guy needed to be watched. Somebody slipped, or somebody in charge should have recommended that this guy stay in a facility. You're a firearms instructor, so this guy knows what he's doing. This guy can pop off more things or more shots than most people can. He's trained. He knows what he's doing. He's dangerous. And he said that he would shoot things up. He would shoot people. He said this. So why is he allowed to walk free out of the mental institution? You're a firearms instructor, and you said you're going to shoot people. Duh, 2 + 2 is 4. I don't understand it, but it's an American tradition. They'll try to sweep this under the rug, and like I said at the bottom of the banner, let's see if he gets the mental illness break. No, you committed a crime. Because many of us as Black people in America, we are mentally ill or in some degree of mental illness, but that doesn't fly. When we do something along similar lines, which is usually much more milder, we get the book thrown at us. So I want to see, after he killed this many people, will they take care of him with kid gloves and handle him with care and make sure not to hurt him, even though he deleted 16 people and injured 50 at the time of this writing. Let's see how they do. Maine, the whitest state in America. Let's see how they do. Oh, he had mental illness. Oh, he wasn't right in the head. Oh, he needs treatment. Oh, he doesn't need to be locked up. But guess what? Me? Look at me. Look at my face on that banner. Me? If I did something like this, what do you think they do? Oh, you're talking racist. No, I'm reflecting what is reality for me in that world called America. Yes, I'm reflecting what's reality. And many people don't want to see it. Patrick Gilbert, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm finally seeing you live again. Once again, it's been a while. But that's right. This is the utter madness. What is happening in America? It's the truth. And they try to keep it down. They try to keep it where you don't see it. Or it's just off the map. But it's there. And overwhelmingly, those who are mass shooters don't look like us. Those who are mass shooters are angry white men with guns. But if we go into a pharmacy or a supermarket with a little pop gun to get some groceries or even take money, we have the book thrown at us and we're featured more so on the nightly news, but they keep these stories down. Yes, I am supposed to be angry about that because we're made to be the criminal. We're guilty before, we're not innocent before proven guilty. We're guilty before proven innocent. But yet and still, I want to watch this case. I want to see what happens with this guy because we're being shot down wholesale by police. And the police usually get time off and acquitted. It's very seldom that we see justice. And is it really? So the American system is twisted. And these senseless fatalities are an American tradition. Look throughout all America's history. Men who look like him came to America. And where are the Native Americans? Cooped up on a reservation from sea to shining sea. From the East Coast to the West Coast to the North Coast to the South Coast, right? The borders. And here they are complaining about, some are complaining about migrants coming in. I understand because they're coming in and they're affording them a place to live and paying for everything when we built the country and we can't get a damn thing. Exactly. Anything Shaka. America is finished. And really and truly, like I said, I saw that video the other day, and I spoke about this on the prior show that I did a few hours ago by Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. Toward the end or toward the middle, strategically, we are being so distracted, and we are really on the brink of World War III, and it's not fear-mongering. I mean, when we see CNN and Fox, and they have their smoke screens and stuff, but I've been researching some nitty-gritty stuff, and Putin is ready to throw down. And people say, well, they wouldn't be a threat because they don't have the military we do, but they will do war crimes. They will shoot civilians. They will hit low. And America doesn't have enough recruits to go in to fulfill the positions in the armed forces. Because look, we got a lot of druggies. We got a lot of people who are spaced out and they're not fit for war. A lot of our youth are not fit for war, and our youth should not be going to war. And guess who they're going to start to send out there? They're going to have a draft and send us out there on the front lines. And they're not going to care. They're going to bring your child home or your family home in a body bag and have a folded American flag that they hand to you. And you're going to cry. And their families are not going nowhere. They're going to make money off of war. Their families never go to war. Let the leaders' sons and daughters go and serve. They're getting the bigger bite of the pie anyway. They should be fighting even harder. But yet we fight to even survive with these jobs that don't pay as much. Economy broken down. We're being squeezed in. It's like a game of musical chairs. But yet we're supposed to be patriotic and fight for the right to get killed, fight for the right to be shunned these jobs, fight for the right to be treated as subhuman. White on white crime at its best. Where in the article did it say it was white on white crime? And they turn around and they say it about us. Oh my God, it's just another incident of black on black crime. Well, if the conditions in the so-called black neighborhoods weren't the way they are, you wouldn't see any what you call black on black crime. But why am I not hearing white on white crime? Why am I not hearing this guy is not a thug criminal who deleted 16 people, 16 families or less? It may be multiple people in the same family, I don't know, but 16 people were deleted. They're gone. They were at the restaurant in the bowling alley. They didn't go out there to do something to somebody. Yes, they may be white people, but I'm going to defend them that way. They're innocent. And this criminal thug went in there for no reason. His mental health status is not an excuse. Somebody dropped the ball on that. You got a dude who said he's going to shoot up people. He's got mental issues and he's a firearms instructor. Hell no, you ain't getting out in the street. They call it Baker acting in Florida. I don't know if that's a whole country thing when they use that term, but you ain't going out nowhere. You know how to use guns like that, but you're an instructor? If he's an instructor, he's certified. And you got mental illness? No way. No way. But see, they seem to skirt those things and look over. He's not going to do anything. But if it was me who had mental illness and I was a firearms instructor, I wouldn't see the light of day. Even before I did anything, they'd have me locked down. So look how slanted things are. Look how twisted things are. We don't have to worry about war. America is at war within itself. And give it a few days, there's going to be another mass shooting. It's an American tradition. Senseless fatalities. But look at your history. They glorify it. And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air. And you pledged to this violence? So America was built on violence. Let's raid and terrorize the natives who are there. Terrorists. But they want to say the word, they want to say the T word to somebody else. But the original terrorists that invaded this land called America didn't look like you or me. You see that? Okay, well, man, let me just read your comment. And it's true. They're already drafting our men to go fight another senseless war. A friend's son was deported last week. They hate us for being black, but love us to go fight their senseless wars they created. So they can have advantage of resources, namely oil, right? And other things. And they send us in. We're the dookie stick that goes in. We're that dookie stick that pushes a doo-doo out of the road when we want to play a game in the street when we were kids. But after the dookie stick is used and has dried dookie on it, they throw it down. And how many of us do you see living under bridges, homeless, mental issues, physical things that are wrong and ailments, right? And I can say it. Mrs. SCURV's son was in the Marines for 10 years and came back sick. And he has to go through hell in the VA to get his treatment. But he gave up his body to defend the country. Ain't that something? So we know what it's like firsthand. He's okay now, but he's not really all the way okay. He's going to have to be on medication for the rest of his life. But they don't take care of you. But when you talk to that recruiter with them shiny shoes on and that razor line, that pressed pants that they have on and clean shaven and smelling good in the shirt, what? And they tell you all the benefits that you can get, leading you like a sheep to slaughter. I don't suggest fighting any war. To do what? Nobody in the American system is fighting a war for you to get you justice. You know what I mean? No way. It's crazy. Let me tell you something. Let me read off some things here. We already read the article, and I'll drop that in the description area below after the show is over. I'm not going to stay on long. I actually stayed up all night. And so my morning show is going to get pushed back a little bit. But when I returned from running my errand, I said, let me touch on something right now. And this was given to me before I left. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stay up. And before I get some sleep, I'm going to talk about this really quick. So I don't know where all this energy is coming from, but it's coming from somewhere, right? So the morning show that we usually do around 8 or 9, whatever, it's going to be pushed back into the afternoon. When I wake up, I'll do it. I promise. I live for this. Probably there'll be something else happening, but we'll come up with a good topic. I have a few that I want to speak about, and we're going to jump right up on it. But there's an article that I looked at here, and they basically said, okay, I'm hearing different numbers of mass shootings, different graphs and statistics. They have different numbers, but the overwhelming majority of mass shootings are done by white men, angry white men. And maybe a third of that, they say, are black. And a half of that are Latino. And a little bit less is Asian. Other is half of Asian and Native American is half of that. Let me go read something else. I was going to show that graph, but I said, hey, y'all take my word for it. I'll read it off. I have no reason to lie. But they say here, and this is a very detailed article. I'm not going to read the whole thing because sleep is tapping me on my shoulder, but I got to get this one out. U.S. mass public shootings since Columbine, victims per incident by race and ethnicity of the perpetrator. Abstract. White individuals, now YouTube, listen to this. Don't get mad at me because I'm reading something that's official. This is what it says. White individuals in the United States have historically had disproportionate access to firearms. Okay, you kind of leaving the door open for a damn excuse. Like because they have disproportionate access to firearms that it's okay. You're not saying it's okay, but you're kind of leaving. You see how they slanted? You see how they slanted? Well, let me slant it right back on you. If you were so good or such a good people, you can have all the firearms in the world and you wouldn't shoot and kill the people you do. So you're morally corrupt. I don't care how many look, anything could be a weapon. We're talking about firearms right now, but I can go in the kitchen right now. I don't have to touch a knife. I can grab a fork and stab your eye out. I can take a pen that we write with and stab you in your neck and make the blood shoot out 2 and 3 feet. Anything could be a weapon. Weapon doesn't mean just because you have a disproportionate access to firearms. If you're not a bad person and a violent person in your genes and DNA, you ain't gonna do nothing. I've handled guns, working in corrections, transporting inmates, doing hospital duty, sitting next to the bed of inmates who are chained down, locked down to the bed, gun right there. Did I go in the hospital and shoot up people? Guy that gave me the finger when I was driving a corrections vehicle, did I run him down and shoot him? I went to the store a couple of times. People see me with the weapon on my side, but they see the uniform. They trusted me on sight alone. But what if I was evil like that? Not even sickness. Stop with this mental sickness. America and many in America are evil. Got nothing to do with mental sickness. Some of them do. But it's just a lot of evil. Racist, evil people. And in this case, I guess they were shooting their own. They're just evil. Shooting their own. I'm not going to say I respect the Klansman, but the Klansman ain't that dumb to shoot his own. This dude went out and shot his own. I ain't going to shoot my own. I'm going to deal with the other if I have to, and I'm backed up against the wall. But he broke code. Ain't that something? Their code. But the history of America, the blood of America, is the ground is soaked with blood. The ground's crying out for justice from sea to shining sea. America better do good, right? Anytime you have free rent and free labor for hundreds of years, that business better do good. You took the land from the people who are here and you didn't just push them aside. Where are they? Yo, look how big America is. And it was already totally populated from the east to the west, from the north to the south. Where are the people? See how they minimize it like they just not there anymore? There were so many people slaughtered. Think about it. And because they teach the history, they minimize and make it seem like they're the heroes. America, America. God shed his light on thee. Really? What God you talking about? Satan? From sea to shining sea, You drop blood from sea to shining sea. And we got us here pledging allegiance to this flag. And we got this kind of stuff going on. And this thing that happened, my heart goes out to those who lost the loved ones. I'm not cruel like that. I'm not evil like that. I'm going to defend myself if I have my back up against the wall, but I'm not evil like that. And we are not evil like that. We're a peaceful people. The only time that we do things to each other is out of frustration when we're put in this system where we just push to the limit. We already messed up in the head from what we had to deal with here for 400 years and still find ourselves behind the same exact spot. As far as black wealth, it has not changed. Just because you see a few Negroes on TV with chains and baubles and rubies and diamonds, it don't mean we did nothing. We're in no better position. And you take the highest of us as far as income and visibility, and you think that means something from the man on the bottom? We still suffering. I got out just in time. I got my little pension check, but it ain't $1 million. I'm cool living like this. I will take my time and get to where I have to go. You don't have to leave, but if you want to, feel free. It's a big world out here. You don't have to be up with these mentally sick people. With the threat of war and the threat of these things going on, and the drug usage and abuse, the unemployment, the weirdos, the men in dresses, and all this weirdo stuff going on. We know it's a spiritual thing, but I don't want to settle down and see this stuff. And it's only going to get worse. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. And like it was told to me, only God, and we're not talking a European God, but only God could save America. And if God chooses to look the other way as America falls, well, oh well, it's poetic justice. It's about time. I don't hate the land of America. I love it. I don't hate my people in America. I love them. But anything negative against our well-being, I despise it. I'm not going to bite my tongue. I'm going to say what it is. It's crazy. But let me continue reading a few things. The real-life availability of firearms, including those most lethal, may still be greater among white populations. Again, if they were good people, that wouldn't matter. Manifesting in the number of victims and shootings, we compare the severity of U.S. mass public shootings since Columbine by race and or ethnicity of the perpetrator using the Violence Project database of mass shooters. Assessing fatalities, total victims, type, and legal status of guns used. We use data, visualization, and quasi-Poisson, that's some type of term, regression of victims -4, accounting for truncation at 4 fatalities. This is a lot of technicalities. I'll push past this. They're speaking about official graphs and ways of study. We don't know nothing about this. We just know we catching hell, and we know those that are the majority, as they say, and we're supposed to be a minority. And there's a new term for us right now. The bottom line is we catching hell. We're the ones blamed. We're the ones, the majority of those in prison. We're 13% of the population. So what are you saying? All of us are criminal? And these people don't they get breaks? These little kids shooting their mamas and shooting up places and doing all this kind of craziness. They get a pat on the wrist, a pat on the head. Oh, a little mental stress. Oh, it's just a little, he had a little molestation going on, and he's acting out, killing people. They get a break on so many different levels. What do they say here? Mass public shootings represent only a small fraction of overall gun violence in the U.S., but for a country not at war, their frequency and number of victims have been without parallel for decades. While guns have been long part of U.S. culture, that's even sick to say that. While guns have long been part of U.S. culture. So you have a culture rooted in violence. What do you take the gun and hang it up on the wall like a picture? No, you wear it around your waist, or you carry it in the trunk of your vehicle, and you pull out and you do what this dude did. Attack vulnerable people, right? America is one of the few countries, including Mexico, Haiti, and Guatemala, where the right to bear arms is constitutionally protected and the widespread availability of firearms contributes to the country's mass public shooting problem. Availability of firearms creates opportunity with important implications for gun violent outcomes. For example, having a firearm in the home is associated with greater odds of homicide and suicide. And while there is no empirical evidence that access to firearms is associated with suicide ideation itself, it is associated with intention to use firearms among those with suicidal ideation. Wow, this article is a little stretch right here, so I'm going to let it slide. I just wanted to bring light to a certain few points. Let me go right where I can see what's going on the show. Thank you all for being here. And these things I want to point out, that white on white crime, this criminally thugged out man who deleted 16 people and injured 50 for no reason in Maine, Lewiston, Maine. So what am I going to say? Oh, they're animals. They do that to us. So can I say that about them? They snuffed out so many of your people. So was this guy an animal? Isn't he a thug? Isn't he a criminal, a murderer, a killer? Well, he's patriotic, according to your terms. Like I said, look who came and deleted all of the Native Americans and had free labor from us from Africa. And you Negroes, well, I don't come from Africa. Well, this is your land. These are your people. Deal with them. When they come shooting at you, when they give you the Negro wake-up call, you can just wear all the feathers in your head and say you're not black, but you're indigenous, but they're going to treat you that way because you're not white. You want to do everything that you can to not be black, but you're not white, right? You idolize this thing. You still hold on, many of you. You think that they are better. You straighten up and work harder when you're on these jobs and they step in the room. It could be a dude who just stepped from outside to come in to use the bathroom. Oh, he must be a new supervisor. You got supervisors on these jobs who are just as damn stupid, but you sit there and you listen to them and don't question them. When a white woman walks into a room, you assume that she's superior and she knows more. No, those days are over. Why do we do this? It's sickening. And I'm going to turn it around on us. We're to blame for a lot of this foolishness that we have to go through as far as what we take. We don't know nothing about this dude in Maine. That's not our problem. We're trying to get our next meal, pay our rent, pay our mortgage, and be good with ourselves. But a lot of us don't have enough unity. So when these kind of men who have a hatred for us come into our neighborhoods and start shooting us up, and we don't have any unity, we don't have any sense, instead of buying rims on a vehicle, we need to have our firearms. And the only reason why they made it where and put laws into place when the Black Panther days is because they had patrols with live firearms. And they had to twist the law around to stop them from doing this. Did they shoot down anybody? No, because they weren't evil. They were community people. But we don't study these things to know that. They'll bend the stats and rules so that they can have, and look what happens when one of those thug criminal people, white on white crime, do what they do. Oh, I'm getting a kick out of saying it over and over again because I got to see this over and over again. I check out the news in different cities in America. I'm still very much there in America. My heart didn't leave America because I'm here in West Africa. I can fight better and I have a better perspective because I'm seeing things wider and I'm not under that stress anymore. So just because I ran out of the burning building because I didn't want to get burnt doesn't mean I won't turn around and go back in there to save my own people and risk my life again. Don't think. But people are so much fraudulent. They want attention. They want to be the one. We had real revolutionaries back in the 60s. These YouTube keyboard warriors, they don't do anything. And somebody can say that about me, but there's much more to my life than just this. I got real things going on. And I'm going to make many of us who are over in America who may not be able to afford to come over here, I'm going to have them come over. Just get your ticket. And it's going to be the people who are in the inner circle. Bring your children, bring your whatever. We're going to give you a wonderful experience. We can all give back a little bit, and that'll be my way. And I'm not going to document it just to say, I'm a good guy, and we're doing this for the people. I'm going to let them do it. If they don't want to do it, they don't have to. I'm going to do it anyway. We need to think on a global level. We're a global people. But now we've been reduced to thinking like those that we're just in a hood. And anything global is for somebody else to make decisions on, and they can play globally, and they can move globally, and they can do business between countries the way we should be doing. I'm over here right now. Why can't I, in my position, do something for somebody who wants to run a business from something that's over here? Every other oppressor is doing it. Why can't we benefit from it? We can't go into different countries and benefit from the natural resources that are there. They got it locked down. Why are others here? And we can't benefit from that. I see everything. I see it all. It's crazy. And for those who want to just sit there and be docile and not think and just put the blinders on, this is what I say to you all. Die. Die. Because it's going to be a life or death thing coming soon. And you want to keep yourself in la la land. If you open your eyes to see what's around you, you can survive. You can live. You'll be ready. But the worst thing in the middle of the night when the call is made is not to be prepared. Somebody yells fire in your home and you try to get out. You don't even have an extinguisher. I'm not saying you don't actually have that. I'm just using this as an example. And somebody yells fire, you run right for that extinguisher. And you grab it, and it's not good no more because it has to be kept up to date. So we're lethargic with so many things. We may have to run away from a pack of dogs that are coming at us from law enforcement and hop a fence. We can't even hop a damn curb without catching a sweat. We need to be physically fit. We need to sacrifice and get away from some of these bad foods. We need to think good thoughts. We need to understand how to survive. They come and raid your house and take everything away. What are you going to do? Don't you have a barrel or a drum that you can go by the side of the highway or out by a park somewhere where nobody steps and bury it with food in there and nobody knows? And they think they left you with nothing else, and you can go on, mosey on down there in the middle of the night and dig up that drum and get all your stuff. You got to be slick in this world. You got to be proactive. You have to think ahead of the curve. But we don't do that. We put on the news and wait for instructions like docile little monkeys, well-trained monkeys. Well, don't be calling no black people no monkey. Well, if you ain't no monkey, you ain't going to get mad. We never evolved from monkeys, and we're not monkeys. But if you act like one, I'm going to call you that. Don't be saying the N-word. Well, I won't have to say the N-word, but if you keep on acting like niggas, then I'm going to have to use the word. And for those of us who act like niggas and somebody else calls you that, you can't get mad if you acting like that. You call me that, I know I'm not that by the way I act and the way I live and the way I sacrifice. No way. You see what I mean? That's right. Last poets. Die, nigga, die, nigga. Exactly. The nigga is an American creation that is spread and spreading worldwide. I see them created over here because of the music. And they use the culture against us. Unbelievable. But listen, y'all, I'm going to lay down a little bit. I've been up all night. I had to take a trip down into the city and take care of some business. Left the house at 6 a.m., which is 2 a.m. for the East Coast. We did the 3-hour show last night on Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. But when I heard of this news, I said, I'm going to be tired, but you know what? I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to go out on that porch, on that balcony. I'm going to lay out. If it rains, I'll wake up to come on inside. Whenever I wake up, I promise I'll be right back, and we're going to do another one. So I'm sorry that this is a little short, but I think you'll understand. And between the last few shows we did, there's enough to bite on. So it's like your aunt leaving some food for you. You got enough food here for the next 7 days, but I'm only going to be gone for 2. And I'm not going to be gone for 2. I'm coming back in a few hours because I'm lit. Our Kevin man, thank you so much. Daniel Walker, top 10s. Keith Luckett. Who else here? MVG. Maurice Martin. Yes, indeed. Ashera Peace. NFN Shaka, Patrick Gilbert, thank you for being here. I see all your comments. Sometimes I want to respond. I don't have a chance to. Something may distract me, but I see everybody who leaves comments and likes and shares and all that other stuff. Some of those others, I know you're lurking. I know you're peeping. I know you're hating, but you ain't going to stop me. We're going to keep going until the Lord calls me home from my last breath. And even then, I'll be on the other side, kicking behind somehow, some way. I'll be haunting somebody, whispering in their ear. Yo, I thought I saw SCURV the other day. Well, what you scared of? If you down with the real deal, well, if you ain't, you're going to be scared. Anyway, you'll know I'm crazy. You'll know I'm crazy. Anyway, much love to you all. I will see you in a little while. Take care. Peace. Much love.